And the Dhamma for today is the four stations on which we should establish vigilance. Vigilance, mindfulness, and a guarding of the mind. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya Book of Fours, Kesiwagga Sutta number 7. It's the one after the last sutta. These are a pair. So this is it's explained as another way of describing the same thing as last, but it's actually somewhat different. The only similarity is it relates to appamada. So the text goes, Chatusu bhikkhave tanesu, in regards to four thana, the station. I say station because it's probably the same etymology. Tha and shta is the Sanskrits from sta. Yeah. Four bases or stations on which we should develop appamado, atta rupena, thinking about oneself, considering oneself. Appamado sati, cetaso Ārakkho karaniyo. So ārakkho, we should guard the mind. The guarding of the mind, appamada and sati. Appamada and sati are on a foundational level synonymous. Mindfulness means appamada, or appamada means to always be mindful. So the four stations are rajaniyesu dhammesu, in regards to desirable dhammas, desirable phenomena. The second, dosaniyesu dhammesu, in regards to disagreeable or anger-causing phenomena. Number three, mohaniyesu dhammesu, delusion-causing phenomena. And number four, majjaniyesu dhammesu, in regards to intoxicating phenomena. So the first three are fairly straightforward. Desirable phenomena, or anything that you desire, could be sights or sounds or smells or tastes or feelings. Things that are agreeable, things that are liable to lead to desire. Dosaniyesu dhammesu, anger-causing phenomena. Again, sight, sound, smells, tastes, feelings, even thoughts can lead to desire, can lead to aversion. Someone says something you don't like, the food you don't like, feelings in the body you don't like, sounds, smells you don't like, thoughts you don't like, having to think about something from the past or the future, and so on. Mohaniyesu dhammesu are a little bit harder to catch for a new meditator. The moha is less obvious than greed and anger. Moha is related to worry. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about things. It's related to doubt. Anytime you're not sure about yourself, not sure about what you're doing, unable to make decisions, that sort of thing. Arrogance, conceit, comparing yourself to others, holding yourself above others, below others, lording yourself over others, that sort of thing. Browbeating others, stubbornness, all these many kinds of moha. Majjaniyesu dhammesu, the fourth one, is a little bit of a surprise. There's no ultimate reality correlation. I mean, the first three cover everything that is problematic, but the explanation is that these are more conceptual. These are perhaps things that prevent you from seeing the first three. So the worldly dhammas, gain, praise, happiness, fame. These kinds of things make you complacent, make you... One meaning of the word majja or pamada, intoxicated, is the idea of losing sight of what is important. So it's not only not practicing, but it's losing sight of the importance of practice. The first three are in relation to the actual practice of giving up greed, anger, and delusion, but there are reasons why you might not even be interested. If you have too much gain, too much good things in your life, you'll lose sight of the fact that these things are impermanent and you become pamada. This is the idea. So the teaching the Buddha gives is that he says you should make a determination, or he doesn't use the word determination, but he phrases it like this. He said you should cultivate appamada sati jetaso arakko, guarding of the mind, the appamada, the mindfulness, as follows. In regards to desirable phenomena, ma me chittang raji dusi muhi and majji. May my mind, in regards to these things, in regards to desirable phenomena, may my mind not give rise to desire. In regards to anger-causing phenomena, may my mind not give rise to anger. He phrases it like this, that one should perhaps make a wish like this. I don't think that's exactly what he's saying. He's describing the state of mind, the application of one's mind. Because obviously making that wish isn't enough. You can wish that, and it's a good wish, but it's absolutely not enough. And it's not what the Buddha says. He says, appamado sati citaso arakho karaniyo. One should guard the mind. Make a guarding of the mind with appamada and with sati. But this is really the holy grail in religious practice, at least from a Buddhist perspective. If you could get to the point where, in regards to things that are the object of desire, no desire arises. No anger arises for things that are causing anger. No delusion arises when things arise to trigger delusion. And nothing distracts you from the practice, makes you negligent, makes you heedless. Even though they are designed or they are formed to be of that sort. They are that sort of Dhamma. Non-religious people will often tell you it's impossible. They will go by their own experience or their knowledge of the world around them, that something that is desirable automatically gives rise to desire. In their experience, that's true. As a meditator, our experience is quite similar. In fact, you will find that it's quite impossible to stop greed from arising. There's no power, no force of will that you can apply just by saying, I will not desire, I will not get angry, I will not be deluded. It's a kind of delusion, in fact, to do that. This is the challenge of the Buddha's teaching, and it's the uniqueness of the practice of mindfulness, that we're in fact not trying to stop the arising of greed, anger, delusion. We're trying to, not trying to directly stop, like as a force or something, but trying to change our understanding so the process changes. So that according to Paticca Samuppada, Vedana Paccaya Tanha. So as it reads, it's just a orderly sequence of events that feelings will give rise to craving. Doesn't say anywhere in there that there's a way to get in between them. The teaching is not to say, okay, no, they're Vedana, no, stop there, don't go any further. It's as though the process is inevitable. But the teaching, the instruction, is at the end, is at the beginning, with avijja. So our practice, again, is not of the form trying to directly stop the arising of greed, to get in the way of the arising of greed, but to change our understanding of the objects of desire. Because you can, in fact, stop the arising of greed, anger, delusion, just not directly. Not by saying stop, not by saying no, but by facing objectively the objects of desire, the objects of anger, the objects of delusion. When you apply yourself in this way through the practice of mindfulness, it's very simple, very direct, but also very somewhat counterintuitive, because it's not the act of stopping anything. It's the act of facing. It feels, the experience of it is a lot like the purifying. And this is why the Buddha talked often about purity and purification. The practice of mindfulness is purifying. So when a desirable phenomenon arises, you pay attention to that object, not thinking of it as desirable or undesirable or trying to change your mind about it, just trying to face it and trying to see it. And in fact, simply by seeing experiences as they are, the desire disappears. The desire has the potential for desire to arise disappears. The potential for anger to desire disappears. It shows that, as the Buddha said, for greed, anger, delusion to arise, there has to be ignorance. They do not arise naturally. They are not something that arise in and of themselves. They can only arise in the presence of darkness, in the presence of ignorance, in the presence of delusion. They have no relationship to the actual reality of the experience, such that when you pay attention to the reality of the experience, when you pay attention to the momentary arising of phenomena, there's no potential for there's no capacity for the arising of greed, anger, and delusion. The experiences are what they are. But this is the essence of our practice. The practice of mindfulness relates to finding the way to prevent the arising, to prevent the chain of causal arising, where things which are desirable lead to desire, things that are a cause of anger lead to anger, delusion leads to delusion. When we apply mindfulness in the way, our ignorance disappears. We see that the things that we thought were desirable are actually neutral. Things that we thought would make us angry, we have no self or no concept of self, me, mine, that would cause us to be upset, cause us to be angry. The momentary objects and moments of experience are devoid of any attractive or repulsive qualities. They are what they are. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing, smelling is smelling. Through the practice of mindfulness, there is a process of cleansing. In the beginning, it seems inevitable that greed, things that are liable to give rise to greed, will give rise to greed. There's no hope of stopping it. However, through successive and repeated application of mindfulness, the perspective changes. You start to notice times where you're able to note things and the greed or the anger, the delusion doesn't arise. There's clarity. You start to see how the things that you desire are not worth desiring. They start to tire you. The whole process begins to be tiresome. You see how the process of anger is painful. A delusion is just stressful and suffering, useless, pointless, endless. Most importantly, you start to see the very basic facts of impermanent suffering and non-self. That the good things are impermanent, the bad things are impermanent, there's no permanent self or soul. And so greed, anger, and delusion just have no place. There's no intellectualizing. All of this is just words that I'm saying. The actual practice is momentary. Every moment it arises and it continues to arise, and the practice, which is a very simple application of mindfulness by facing the objects and seeing them just as they are. Very simple, very direct. Leads to greater and greater clarity and understanding. And this application is the application that leads us to release, to freeing ourselves and letting go of the causes of suffering and freeing ourselves from suffering. So a very good set of determinations, something we can remind ourselves of. Yes, this is what I am determining in my practice. I am determined to accomplish this. This is the accomplishment. The Buddha said, when one is such a person where this doesn't happen, where the connection isn't made, there is no wavering, there is no worry, no fear, and he says there is no way that they could be convinced of anything else, so they would never fall prey to other teachings. He's referring to an arahant, according to the commentaries, that an arahant is never disturbed, never unsure or uncertain about the nature of experience. So that's the Dhamma for today. Sadhu.